Hey, hello again. Hope you guys had a great weekend and a happy Halloween, and that you guys were happy, healthy, and got some good candy, or just enjoyed whatever you did with family and friends. All right. So let's get started for this week in this new unit. First, we'll look at the calendar coming up. This is our Unit 3 calendar. So this is today, Monday, November 2nd. We have a 2-day assignment here, Europe pre-1750, a 2-day assignment, historical circumstances of the Enlightenment. Google Meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can see the same thing throughout, except for on Thanksgiving. All right, we will have our quiz in about 5 weeks, coming up on December 3rd. Okay, so there are a couple assignments in this week. This one's a kind of weird setup, the 9th through the 12th. It is a 3-day week, so I'm only going to give a 1 3-day assignment, but it's weird that we have Wednesday off. So you have a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Okay? Flex Fridays throughout. I just want to make a quick announcement with that. With the Flex Fridays, if you find that you are running late on an assignment and it's like getting to be 9, 10 o'clock at night, just pause, stop. Don't keep working until like 2 or 3 in the morning. I've been noticing I've been getting a lot of submissions after midnight, and we are either heading into or we are going to be in cold and flu season, and we're not sure how bad it's going to be, if it's going to be worse with coronavirus. And I just want you guys to make sure you're getting good sleep and that you're getting as much just as healthy as you can be. So don't stay up super late trying to get these assignments done. All right, thank you. All right, so moving on, we are going to do a little bit of review for some things that you might have done last year. Let me present this. Okay, so reviewing a little bit of what Europe was like before 1750. They are using a feudalism system, which is decentralized. There is no central government, so more to the right. Like, this power is spread out, as you can see in, where is my pointer? Right, there we go. So as you can see here, the power is spread out. We have our social class systems. I just left Japan up there because we just finished it. But they're very similar in Europe and Japan. You have one person at the top with most of the power, and as you go down, each level gets less power. It doesn't matter where we are and what time period. If you're looking at the ancient caste system in India, if you're looking at the ancient social classes in Egypt, or as in later in this unit, we are going to look at the encomienda system in South America. It doesn't matter where this system is. If it's this triangle, where you're born is where you stay. You're fixed. It's rigid. You cannot change it, and there is no social mobility. You are not allowed to move up the social classes. Okay? So in the 1500s, we start seeing that feudalism starts to break down for lots of reasons. The Black Death has devastated the population. So individuals, the lower classes, become more important. And also the exploration, and the kings get much, much more money, right? The Spanish and the Portuguese are the first to really instill absolute monarchy because they are the first ones to get this big influx of gold and silver and be able to buy lots of new stuff. So they have lots of money, and absolute monarchs are going to have total control over their country, his or her country. Why do they have so much power? Because they do have a lot of money, and they're able to pay a lot of soldiers to kind of force people to do what they want. And during feudalism, during the Middle Ages, it was the Catholic Church that had the most power. But since the Protestant Reformation in 1519, the Catholic Church is weaker because now there's Catholic Church and there's the Protestant churches. So the kings and queens don't have to listen to what the Pope says anymore. All right? But what they do use, it doesn't mean that religion is not important. While while specifically the Catholic Church may not have as much power, the kings do claim this idea called divine right, that God has chosen them to be the leader, to be the king, to be the queen, and that if you believe in God, you got to kind of listen to them. Okay, so it's not that religion is not as important as it was. It definitely is, if not more important. Okay, but it's not the church as a leader anymore or as a political entity. This idea of divine right is similar to the mandate of heaven. So, like if we're on an essay and we're comparing and contrasting ideas across time in different places, this is like if it matches and it's an enduring issue, you could use that as well, right? The Chinese dynasties were able to claim that the mandate of heaven allowed them to be in power. Some things or some reasons why absolute monarchy can be seen as bad is that they get to do whatever they want. If they want to fight a war, let's go fight a war. Someone angered me, well, let's go send in some troops. And this gets very expensive. They also are going to build themselves huge, humongous palaces. And we're not talking like just one, because in many cases, it's just like, oh, I'm going to have a summer palace and a winter palace, and I'm going to have my own palaces. I can't live in the palace that my daddy lived in. So it gets outrageous in how many palaces and how large they are that they build. Another thing that is really bad is this idea that they are the law, they are the state, and if you disagree with them, in many cases, you could be put to death, you could be imprisoned for no reason at all. Okay? We're going to look at this one king just because we were going to then also do the French Revolution pretty soon after this. So Louis XIV, I'm sorry that his name is kind of cut off at the top. Louis XIV is the king of France for 72 years. He's like the epitome of the absolute monarch. He has this saying where he just claims, I am the state, I am the government, I am France. He is also nicknamed the Sun King because everything is going to revolve around him, right? He's got quite a big ego. And you can see on on the flag, there is a sun, right? And we also have this painting signifying divine right because you have an angel, the heavens, bestowing the crown on Louis's head. Okay, so some things that he does is he builds this enormous palace of Versailles, and it kind of becomes the symbol of absolutism, of monarchy, of government that has too much power. Okay, and you can see here how large it is, and this is just his house. Okay, he's also going to create and establish this 3-estate system where we've got 3 social classes of people. Okay, this makes up about 98% of the population. They pay all the taxes. They have no real rights, whereas the clergy and the nobility, the first 2 classes, don't pay any taxes and get all the privileges. All right, here's just another picture of the Palace of Versailles. You can see how large the rooms are, how ornate they are with marble, gold trim, paintings pretty much everywhere, enormous amounts of money. This is some of our former students at the Palace of Versailles. It was pretty neat to go there. I would like to hold other international trips. We'll see. Hopefully we are. We have moved our 2021 trip to 2021. So we'll see, or 2021 trip to 2022. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that's it for just some notes, some little background refresher. Why is my mouse messing up today? Okay. All right then, now on to today's work. We're looking at Monday, November 2nd. Our objective, what was the political and cultural situation in Europe circa around 1750. We're going to examine some events from multiple perspectives of different people that lived through it, right? Our big idea down here. Read it once or twice. At the beginning of the 18th century in Europe, different social groups had different points of view about the most urgent political problems. Okay, so we're going to look at different points of view in a couple different of readings and fill out a couple of different graphic organizers or charts to kind of help organize our thoughts on these different groups of people. Okay, so we have 4 different review topics. Renaissance is one. Protestant Reformation is the second. The absolute monarchy is the third. And scientific revolution is the fourth. Okay, so back to the Renaissance. As you're reading through these short texts, what I think you should do is highlight based on these different groups. So whenever I come across information about the merchants, I'm going to highlight in yellow. Whenever I come across information for intellectuals, I'm going to highlight in green. Whenever I come across peasants, I'm going to highlight in blue or pink, whatever, it doesn't matter the colors, and change that for all these ones down here. So I've got peasants again. Let me make it blue. I got Catholic clergy. I'm going to make that pink. I got monarchs. I'm going to do that in a lighter color, orange. Yeah, I guess you can still read that. Okay. So this way you kind of color code things throughout. So as I am reading and come across one of these three items, I can make some changes. Okay. The Renaissance, rebirth in French, was a cultural movement from the 14th to 17th centuries during which European artists, scientists, and scholars were inspired by classical achievements of the Greeks and Romans, which they became aware of through ruins and Greco-Roman texts preserved by Islamic scholars in the Ottoman Empire. The Renaissance started in Italy in the 14th century. Then its ideas and cultural trends spread slowly across Europe. The Renaissance marked the end of the Middle Ages. So we do know that, scientists, scholars, artists are considered intellectuals. So we can highlight that in yellow. I believe that's what I had. Nope, green. Whoopsie. Okay, intellectuals. Moving on. The end of the Middle Ages and the start of the Renaissance occurred because of the renewed trade connections and great deal of wealth that was made off of that trade. The Crusades, which took place during the Middle Ages, although destructive, connected Europeans with Islamic traders in the Middle East who had access to trade networks in Asia. As a result, Western European interest in the rest of the world grew. Italy was the connection between Western Europe and Islamic empires in the Middle East. After the Crusades, Italian cities like Venice were made strong trade connections with the Ottoman Empire. Wealthy merchants like the Medici family turned their interest into beautifying cities like Florence. To do so, they funded artists, architects, and scientists to study Greek and Roman buildings and texts, then to build new Italian achievements. Without money from the trade, achievements of the Renaissance would not have been created. So this is kind of all yellow. And we can actually look up here too. These three things, right? The art, the architecture, Brunelleschi's dome would not have been able to happen or being created without all this influx of money from merchants and wealthy families like the Medici. Moving on. When the Black Death, a disease that spread through trade routes, swept through Italy, it killed off lots of nobles. Merchants replaced the nobles as the wealthy people in Italy. Let's make that yellow. Okay. The nobles held wealth in land, but the merchants made money through trade. Peasants also had new options since the nobles who controlled them under feudalism were no longer as strong and they could make money in business that made goods and trade. So peasants are no longer forced to work by nobles. They can work for themselves. They can make their own trade. They can kind of do what they want. Over the course of the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, the wealth and cultural trends in Italy spread throughout Europe, inspiring achievements in the arts and sciences in the Netherlands, England, France, and elsewhere, bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages and into the modern era. Okay, so when we're done, how did the review topic, in this case the Renaissance, affect you? So I'm going to answer this in question as if I'm a merchant, I'm an intellectual, or I'm a peasant. Okay? So if I was a merchant, the Renaissance affected me by making me rich through increased trade with the Ottoman Empire. As a merchant, I replaced the nobles in power. As an intellectual, as an intellectual, my skills were more relied on, or required, or more sought after to help beautify Italy and other countries as the Renaissance spread. All right, up here, I was also paid to study classical achievement. I was also paid by wealthy merchants for my skills. Peasants. How did the Renaissance affect me? I am happy that nobles can no longer control my life. I can now make money in business and make money. I can now make money in my own business or my own businesses, like making goods that I can trade or sell. Okay, so kind of take on the persona based off what you have read above and be able to just ask, how does it affect you? How did the Renaissance, how does the Reformation, how does the Scientific Revolution, how does absolute monarchy affect these groups of people? Okay, same thing here. So like as you're reading, be able to highlight a little bit. Okay, it's like right here, many monarchs, especially in Northern Europe, converted to Protestant religions as a way of freeing themselves from the power of the Catholic Church. So like that's something I would highlight in orange. Okay, this way I know as I'm reading, I've color coded and I can just pull out little pieces to help inspire me in my answers. Okay, do the same thing here for now Tuesday, 11-3. You have review topic 3, political life, absolute monarchy. Topic 4, scientific revolution. Okay, try to keep the colors the same if you can. Right, we had monarchs were orange, clergy I did as pink, peasants I did as green. Nope, I am still wrong. Blue, blue, blue. Right? This way, just as you go from reading to reading to reading, you have annotations, coloring, highlighting in the same color so you know that you are looking at the same topic. Okay? For the formative assessment at the bottom, what was the political and cultural situation in Europe around 1750? Based on what you've learned and read, complete this chart below. So what are you concerned about around 1750? As a monarch, what are you concerned about? As a Catholic church, a clergy, what are you concerned about? As an intellectual, what are you concerned about? As a peasant, what are you concerned about? Right? I am concerned about earning my own living and maybe fighting for rights because the king or queen has too much power. And maybe what do you hope will happen in the next 100 years? Like as a king, I might say like, I hope that my son becomes king and it passes down the family line. I hope to get more power and wealth. Okay, but as you're reading, you may change your answers a little bit. Maybe the peasants, they will say, we want to have personal freedoms and democracy. Something like that. And that's all for today's work. Do your best. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.